I have been making the coolest yarn here recently, and most of y'all know if you've been following my channel, I love really using what I have around. I love using what's in my studio, and I really don't like letting things go to waste. And I feel like as crafters, whether it's you're dealing with yarn that you already have, or especially if you're a spinner, you end up with all these like weird little bits and bops of fuzz laying around. And I really had some cool stuff I wanted to use together. So I wanted to do kind of a texture combo study here and then be able to upload it onto my channel for you. So that's what this is. So the first texture in this was a really cool minimally processed merino. So it was from a friend of mine. So it was hand washed and kind of scoured to get the grease and stuff out of it, and then dyed. So it was this pretty pale pink color, but it definitely still had a lot of the natural texture as well as the little locks, and it was kind of fuzzy, and it definitely wasn't like extremely processed out. I could have run it through a drum carder or combed it, but I just really kind of like straightened it out by hand and then went through and spun kind of a fun, fluffy, curly single from that, and I really wanted to leave some of the natural wool texture in there. And then the other side was the total opposite, and it was a hand-dyed bamboo. So it was this pretty, like, slippy, like, kind of, you could spin it really thin, and it spun really even gold color. So it looked very, like, Rumpelstiltskin. So I had the gold kind of bamboo, shiny, like, plant fiber, and then I had this really fuzzy, curly, pink lock, like, crimpy merino. So I had spun one single of each of those, and then I was two-plying it. So that's what you see here in the video, is me two-plying these two different textures together, because one, I love the colors together. Pink and gold are a great combo, and then two, I really loved the combination of the textures of like the matte and the curly, as well as the shiny and the smooth. So I really was loving bringing this together and would recommend you really digging through your stash to see what you might be able to spin together. A tip, and it was just kind of a great excuse to show this on camera, from the fact that these weren't like a 4-ounce braid divided in two where you get really pretty even sections. This was like two different totally squirrely little different groups of fiber, so my bobbins were not even. So I ran out of the gold before I ran out of the pink, but I still had some more of the gold fiber that just hadn't been spun. So instead of just having a bunch of extra pink, what I did, especially thanks to my SpinOlution wheel, this one being the Bullfrog, being so easy to kind of stop mid-project. So I stopped mid-project, took the bobbin off, set it on the floor, and then actually reattached the original bobbin with the gold and spun a little bit more gold thread, and then stuck the project bobbin, the two-ply bobbin, back on, and then re-brought the fiber around, reconnected it, made a really smooth join, and then continued my plying to get some more extra yardage. So that was just something that I feel like it's something I do, but I don't necessarily always tell everybody that I do. But you know, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't do this occasionally to get the most out of my yardage, but you can really, by attaching the little fuzzy ends, you can get a very smooth, strong join, especially with that second ply, and it really lets you make the most out of your fiber. Come together, and I hope maybe you were inspired to use some of the weirder things you may have laying around, or branch out and try some different fiber blends. I mean, I personally think what I count as art yarn is just really bringing different colors and textures together and kind of letting the fiber tell you what it wants to be versus planning a yarn for a certain project. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I would love to see what it is you make. Feel free to come join us on my Facebook group. You can find on Facebook, and I will try to link that here. You can also find me on pretty much all of the socials, and if you would like to know more about art yarn spinning, please, or just basic spinning, please go check out my website, and there are lots of courses there. And of course, liking and subscribing is always helpful. So see you around, and if you have any topics you would like to hear more about, please drop them in the comments.